All right, today we're cracking open the playbook from Russell Brunson's .com secrets. Now, this isn't about chasing the latest shiny object on the internet. Nope. This is about building a real, solid system to actually grow a business online. For so many of us, this is the piece of the puzzle we didn't even know was missing.
So let's just get right to it. The question that I know keeps a lot of entrepreneurs up at night. You've poured your heart, your soul, and probably way too many hours into your business, but it's just not growing the way you thought it would. You feel stuck. And that's got to be one of the most frustrating feelings out there.
And here's the thing. Russell Brunson's whole point is that we get completely obsessed with the wrong stuff. We're always chasing more traffic, tweaking our conversion numbers, but he says those are just symptoms. It's kind of like putting a Band-Aid on a gaping wound without ever figuring out what caused it in the first place. And that leads us to the heart of the entire book. The real problem isn't that you don't have enough people looking at your stuff. The real problem is you don't have a structured system, a funnel that guides people on a journey from just being curious all the way to becoming a customer for life. This is a huge shift from thinking about short-term tactics to building a long-term strategy.
All right, so this brings us to a super common trap that pretty much everyone falls into. The idea that if we just had more traffic, all our problems would be solved. But as we're about to see, sending more people to a broken system, well, it doesn't fix anything. It just makes a bigger mess.
I mean, even Brunson himself lived this. He built a company that was making good money, but he was totally miserable. He felt trapped by his own business, serving customers he didn't even like working with. It's just a powerful reminder that making money doesn't automatically mean you're going to be happy.
And if you want a perfect, kind of scary example of this, just look at the story of FitLife.tv. They had this massive following on Facebook, 1.2 million people, but then Facebook changed its algorithm and poof, their traffic dropped by 90% overnight. The lesson here? It's crystal clear. If you don't own your traffic, you don't own your business. Period.
Okay, so if just chasing more traffic is a dead end, then what's the answer? Well, this is where Brunson introduces what he calls the secret formula. And it's a foundational framework that really changes the whole game.
You know what's so great about this formula is just how simple it is. It all starts with this little hand-drawn diagram, which is awesome because you can remember it instantly. It lets you look at any business and figure out what's going on by asking just 4 simple but really profound questions.
Let's just walk through them really quick. First, who is your dream client? And not just anyone with a wallet, but who do you really want to work with? Second, where are they already hanging out online? Third, what kind of bait, like an irresistible offer, can you use to get their attention? And last, what is the result, the big transformation that you're going to give?
Once you have the answers to those 4 questions, you're ready to build what he calls your value ladder. This is basically the blueprint for how you're going to serve those dream clients and actually grow your company.
Think of it like this. The value ladder is a visual roadmap for everything you sell. It starts with your bait, something free or low cost to get people in the door, and then it goes all the way up, step by step, to your most valuable, highest priced services. This structure is so smart because it lets you serve your best customers on a deeper and deeper level, which means they stick around for a long, long time. And here's a wild story that just proves this works. At an event, you had a room full of people who had already paid $25 grand for a mastermind. They were then offered a $30,000 upgrade and half the room bought it, right there on the spot. This just proves a key point. Some of your customers will always be willing to pay more for more value and more access.
Okay, so you've got the structure, the funnels, the ladders. That's the science part. But how do you get people to actually care about it? Well, that's where the human element comes in. That's the attractive character. Now, this is super important. This is not about being famous or good-looking or perfect. The attractive character is simply the persona you share with your audience. You're the guide who's leading them on this journey. This is how you build a real connection and a following of people who can't wait to see what you do next.
And the best part is, you don't have to pull this out of thin air. Brunson lays out 3 main types you can be. There's the leader, who's already been there and done that. There's the adventurer, who's figuring things out right alongside the audience. And then there's the reporter, who goes out, finds the experts, and brings back the goods.
All right, here's a secret that might feel a little weird at first, but it's so true. To really connect with people, you have to be a little bit polarizing. You have to share what you really think, even if some people won't like it. Because trying to please everybody is, well, it's boring. And trying to be vanilla is the fastest way to get ignored.
So, we've got the structure and we've got the persona. Now, how do you actually build and scale that relationship with your audience? This is where a few key psychological tricks of the trade come into play.
Okay,
One of the most powerful ideas in the whole book is this concept called pre-framing. It's basically the art of setting the stage. You're shaping someone's mindset before they even see your offer or hear your message. It's making sure the audience is in the right mood before the curtain even goes up.
There's this amazing study from MIT that shows this perfectly. A class was going to have a substitute professor, and they were split into two groups. Both groups got a little bio to read about him beforehand. The bios were exactly the same, except for one tiny little detail.
And that detail? It was literally just one phrase. For half the class, the bio said the professor was a very warm person. For the other half, it said he was rather cold. That's it. That was the only difference.
And the result? It's pretty mind-blowing. After listening to the exact same lecture from the exact same guy, the two groups had totally different opinions. The warm group thought he was engaging and awesome. The cold group thought he was irritable and arrogant. That's the power of a pre-frame. It changes everything.
So how does Brunson actually use this? Well, he talks about specific email tactics. There's the soap opera sequence, which is a 5-day email series that uses storytelling to build a really fast connection. And then you have daily Seinfeld emails, which are basically fun little stories about nothing that keep your audience engaged day after day. So when you put it all together, the formula, the ladder, the attractive character, and the way you communicate, you get this, a complete system. And yeah, it might look a little complicated at first glance, but the message is so simple. Real, sustainable success online isn't about luck or random tactics. It's about building a well-engineered machine that works.
And that really leaves all of us with one big critical question. When you look at your own work, you got to ask yourself, are you just chasing clicks and followers and one-off sales? Or are you actually engineering a real business, a system that's built to last for years and years to come?